Good evening. My name is Ariella, and I am the proud sister of the bride. It warms my heart to see so many people here celebrating this wonderful couple tonight. Growing up with Talia, I always looked up to my big sister. Whether it was trying to steal her dance moves, on Saturday morning Michael Jackson jam sessions complete with dress up and mom's makeup, to borrowing her clothes. It was all in the name of love and admiration. Talia has always been an independent, brilliantly smart woman. As little kids, we created the Talia Cafe, right out of our parents' kitchen, complete with menus and prices. We would put our dad's Star Wars sheets up to cover the doorways of the kitchen, set up the table as if it were a restaurant, and invite our parents to order and eat. Of course, they had to pay and clean up the kitchen at the end of the night. Her entrepreneurial spirit has continued over the years, and she is even in the process of helping me create my own business. That brings me to my next point. Talia is one of the most loyal, trustworthy people I have ever known. We have had our moments, but no matter what, she has always been there for me and supported me no matter what. The night before I started high school, she gave me a small chest of mini drawers. In each drawer were notes of encouragement and inspiration. I know she sees these same qualities in Robb, and I'm so happy that they found each other. I met Robb a few times early on in their relationship, but I really began to know him on a Tahoe ski trip one weekend, a little over 3 years ago, I think. It meant so much to me that they let me tag along with their friends, even though I spent the entire day sliding down the bunny slopes on my back. Last summer, I got to know Robb even better when my parents and I went to Australia. We bonded about 5 to 7 meters underwater, scuba diving at the Great Barrier Reef, and without him easing my nerves, I never would have been able to do it. I even pet Wanda, the massive fish who was in the process of changing from male to female, or female to male, I don't remember, that was regularly swimming by in the area, after seeing Robb bravely survive petting her. I'm so excited to get to know Robb even better in the coming years, and to hear stories about their adventures, and hopefully continue to take part in some of them. Talia and Robb are great as individuals, but together they complement one another flawlessly. I had the opportunity to meet much of Robb's family in the last couple of months, and I can honestly say I couldn't imagine a better, more welcoming and kind group of people for my sister and our family to gain as family. Please raise your glasses to a future of love, happiness, health, and adventure for this beautiful, one-of-a-kind, newly married couple.
My name is Collier Byrne. I first met Robbie when we were in kindergarten, and we sat next to each other the first day in kindergarten. He had this, I'm sorry, Suzanne, disgusting mullet. Probably one of the worst haircuts I have ever seen in my life when I sat next to him, and I was nervous. I didn't know, what is this firecracker? First day, he steals all of my colored pencils. And we moved on from there and became very good friends. No more colored pencil stealing, probably the core of that. But Robbie always took everything we did and took it to the next level, as many of the other groomsmen and friends can attest. And we had this game that we played in Fox Point, Ghost in the Graveyard. There were no rules. We just ran around and tried to tag each other. And one night we couldn't find Robb. We were out there for 2-3 hours. We had been tagging each other. We couldn't find Robb. And so I was about to go in and call the police because I didn't want to tell his parents. And I thought calling the police was going to be a better option than telling his parents. So we walk in, and all of a sudden the lake starts stirring. We're out in their backyard, and the lake starts stirring really slowly. And Robb had been in the lake the entire time, breathing through a straw, with camouflage on, full camo, full makeup, camouflage. He had been there about 2.5 hours. And nobody looked in the lake for him because that was the dedication he was working with. And he came out and he was like, well, you guys didn't find me. Nice try, get me next time. So that was kind of the first note that I had that Robb was going to take everything to the extreme and whatever we did. And we have a good friend here, Colin Beasley, whose parents aren't here, unfortunately, but we TP'd their house almost 6,000 times in high school. So Robb calls me at 2:30 in the morning one night, and I'm real concerned. I'm like, what is going on? And he goes, I got cut off. I'm like, we're 16 years old. Your parents didn't cut you off. I mean, what's going on? I got cut off. Jewel had cut him off from buying toilet paper. In Barrington, Lake Zurich, Palatine, Schaumburg, which is about a half hour away, and Dominic's, everybody had cut him off from buying toilet paper. So he called me to ask me to buy toilet paper for him. And it was 2:30, and he was like, Collier, I have to do it tonight. Like, it really has to be done tonight. So we walked around to people's houses that we knew and borrowed their toilet paper. We went to about 15 houses and grabbed toilet paper, and we toilet papered Beasley's house again. So Colin probably had to clean a lot of that up, so he's probably not that happy about that. But it was always the dedication, taking everything to the next level. And on a serious note, we were always worried. My mom can attest to this. We'd always talk about how are we going to find somebody that's going to be Robbie's equal? We never thought it would happen. I had never met somebody that I knew could find his equal. And the first time that I really knew was Hayden was about 2 back in the day. And Hayden was very shy when she first approached people. And Robbie was the first boy outside the family that she approached right away. And of course, Talia comes in, first Thanksgiving. And what did she do? Big hug. Right away, right? Yeah, so right away, Talia, and the first 2 people that she had approached with no reservation and no trouble and really no filter. They were best friends immediately from the start. And the kids that young always have the best instincts, right? And Hayden really did have the best instincts. And that's how we knew that, listen, these are going to be 2 people that are going to be together forever. And they're equals in so many ways. Kind, Talia's much better looking than Robbie, but in a lot of other features, they're very equal. Intelligence, we are relying on their genius babies to basically save mankind. So we will have those babies come in, and let's raise a glass to a wonderful couple and wonderful friends and just to a lifetime together. Here. Robbie, love you.
My name is Brett Beaches. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of yet meeting, I am a dear friend of Robb and Talia's. I've known Robb about 10 years now. We've lived together on 4 separate occasions, 6 of the last 9 years. I feel like I have a pretty good sense of who he is. Dating back to, I think, sophomore year when we first met, he was on crutches. He had the early makings of a ponytail and was wearing a tie-dye shirt. I think I looked about the same. And Collier, who is a new friend and co-best man, has been a pleasure making your acquaintance and getting on some adventures the last week. My chapter in Robb's life is the later chapter, I guess, the more recent chapter. It is one that I would describe as, if I could title it, I would say manhood. Contemplated, attempted, achieved. I think it's a good chapter. If there is a defining theme from this chapter, it is reasonable lessons learned from self-inflicted, very unreasonable situations. And I think sometimes I'm blessed, sometimes I'm burdened by a fairly good memory, and I have a memory for most of Robb's quotes, and I think Robb summed it up the best. Our senior year of college, we had snuck onto the Stanford golf course, and we're about to embark in a night golfing session with our night golf balls and our one-piece ski suits, because we just happened to find ourselves in those many times for no particular reason. And anticipation was running high. We didn't know what this night would hold for us. We were also wondering if this evening would spoil our perfect non-trespass records, but Robb, he pulled me aside right before we teed off. He said, Brett, sometimes it's really important to cross the line. I said, all right. He said, and other times it's important to cross the line so you know why the line was put there in the first place. Both are ultimately good. I said, all right. I think that speaks to Robb's character, and spoken from the live life in the moment, charismatic dreamer that I came to know him as in college. He was intent on any activity that would build up his resume as a man, anything that would make him a finer gentleman. And those events kind of played themselves out in 4 categories: music, dance, sports, and costume. And if anyone's checking their watch, we're just getting started. So, music. Robb was intent on listening to 5 artists: Neil Diamond, David Hasselhoff, Enrique Iglesias, Madonna, and Jimmy Buffett. And I think collectively we thought those were the artists that held the keys to life. They had the answers that we were seeking as young men trying to make it in the world. And we tried to live up to their spirit in dance, which Robb was the leader of between the two of us. He was inspired by the latest trends in Europe, Africa, Latin America, MTV, internet videos, wherever you could find a new dance move, he found it. And we would play them out in nightly 11 p.m. floor-shaking dance-offs above Paul Janzer's suite, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you felt it. And I learned many moves, which hopefully will relive themselves this evening on the dance floor. Sports. We played all the normal sports: golf, swimming, I think, some running, though I wasn't as passionate. But Robb laid his mark on the sports world is his creativity and community influence. We came up with the Birthday Olympics together, where we invented a lot of sports that challenged the soul and the spirit. And these sports included mud soccer, snowball fights with elementary school kids in Lake Tahoe. What else, Robb? There was a 100-yard dash across the Stanford driving range contemplated, but we never actually lived up to it, so maybe at the next homecoming. All of this was culminated with our costumes. Robb was a proponent of costumes. Not only did he wear one-piece ski suits when we went night golfing, but he would wear them for entire weekends in Lake Tahoe. He would wear them on the bus ride up to the ski mountain, to the après, to dinner afterwards. He would sleep by the fire in them. And he would wear them home. It was his foolproof plan to becoming the true gentleman of the world. So with these 4 life skills honed and in our quivers, we entered the world of manhood, the post-college world of manhood, and we did what any worldly and independent gentleman would do, and we moved into a house with 5 other guys in Los Altos, California, a single-family neighborhood, and we decided we would single-handedly lower property values. 2 of our other roommates are here tonight: Jeremy Kimmel, Colin Beasley. They're at table 16 if you haven't met them already. And this house, we were excited about it. This was our pad, our landing spot as men, and this house was begging to be torn down. I mean, it was a 2,700 square foot, 3/4 of an acre, complete with dilapidated garage and no lights, some sort of workers' quarters from its farmhouse days that didn't have a roof anymore, an algae-filled pool. There were spiders in Robb and Colin's room, which greeted him when we moved in. They turned them into like house pets or something. It was amazing, and also the backdrop with which Robb decided to invite Talia over for their first date. We had dubbed it Creepy Manor for very legitimate reasons, I think. And this was a place where men came to be themselves. It wasn't really a place where men came to invite dates over for first dates or have second dates or third date or any other dates for that matter. But one day we were enjoying one of our customary I think it was a customary shirtless TV dinner. I think Lost was the TV show at the time, and we were intent on it. Jeremy was a very big fan of Lost. He got me into it. And Robb came into the room. He said, "Guys, I have a date." And our ears perked up. You know, this wasn't a town. Dates were hard to come by. This was a single-family town. We were intrigued. What was this? And he disappeared back into his back room. He lived in this wing that we called the cabin. It didn't have any heat, and the roof had partially collapsed in a rainstorm a couple of months earlier. Like, this was an old house, but we were proud of it. And we hear a soft tap on the door 20 minutes later, and Robb comes scurrying out. He was excited. What was this? Who was coming in? And the door slides open, and in walks this blonde bombshell, just dressed to the T, glammed up, made the sturdiest of knees weak and quiver at the sight of her. And she said, "Hi, guys, I'm Talia." And we were like, who is this? I think Robb was wearing green velour sweatpants and a white t-shirt. If he wasn't, that's what he wore every other day. So I'm pretty sure he was wearing that. And we said, "Okay, have fun at the movies." They were supposed to go to the movies or go bowling that night, if I remember correctly. And they disappeared back into the cabin wing with no heat. I said, "I hope she brought a sweater. It's cold in there." And we get back to watching Lost and enjoying our TV dinner meals on our trays, which Jeremy had kindly purchased earlier for us on the house budget. And 20 minutes go by and they don't emerge. And I said, I forget who said it. I think it was a collective thought that just got spurted out by Colin. He said, did Robb invite Talia for a date to the movies at Creepy Manor? What? And we said, "Yeah, okay, there's not going to be a second date here." So but 3 days later, Talia was back, and we said, "Wow, this must be something special, because there's no way that the house or the company sold her on this experience." And if Robb's absence from our Sunday night mac and cheese dinners was any indication, he was equally smitten by Talia, and we knew something was up. And these two were, in my mind, they were circling one another, eyes fixed. There was this romantic kind of sexy bull dance of sorts, where Talia had the cape and Robb was building up this head of steam, and he was just like circling around, but we weren't sure what was going to happen. But unfortunately, the romance was put on hold. Both had big plans. Talia was off to China. Robb was off to the Czech Republic, I think 2 days after Talia got back. It was romantically a frustrating time. But we worked through it. I worked through it. We got past it. And let's see, they were back stateside the winter of 2008, I believe. And Robb and I were in Lake Tahoe. We were snowboarders and skiers, as was custom at the time, and we enjoyed a festive après-ski life. There was one bar in particular we loved, the Bar of America in Truckee, California. And this was a place where it was a very good place. It was a place where the pints were served tall, the bluegrass was festive, the company was always in fine spirits. And we walked in there one day right short of our 25th birthdays, and I'll never, you may forget this, but I never forgot it. We walked in, it was particularly festive. I think we'd missed the sweet spot of this party, and things were going off. The bluegrass was just pumping through this bar, and people were dancing, and beer was flowing, and we walked in, and 10 seconds later we were approached by these maybe three intimidatingly forward ladies who must have been more than twice our age. And I was in a state of panic. And Robb had just gotten back from his trip to the Czech Republic. He was worldly, he was well-traveled, he was mature, he was part of this. He was achieving his manhood dream, and I wanted to flee. I said, "Robb, I gotta go to the bathroom." And he, a good friend I am, "I will leave you with these." And he took me on his shoulder and he said, "Brett, don't worry about this. This is a good thing." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "This means they think we're men now." I said, All right, good. But then his smile turned away and he got serious. He said, well, but with manhood comes much responsibility. I said, all right. So we got through that evening, and 3 weeks later, Robb's birthday, he's back in Tahoe with Talia in one-piece ski suit playing birthday Olympics kickball on a frozen-over driving range. Manhood had come full circle, and he'd found the love of his life. I said, this man knows his priorities. We've been there on the driving range. We've been there in Bar of America. He is off and running. And from then on, it was go, go, go. Robb and Talia were doing weekend trips to Napa. They were doing midnight hikes to Yosemite, and they were off and running. And this is the part of speech where I tell all of their drunken and crazy stories about SF and narrowly skirting the law as they lost all track of time with one another. But unfortunately, during this time, I was in the library studying, being my best responsible self. But when I emerged that fall, it was clear to me that they had built a relationship, and it was blossoming, and it was a relationship built on trust, on purpose. They admired one another. There was deep friendship, and it was one that I was proud to see them growing. I think that in any relationship, both people need to offer and share themselves completely, and both need to need what one another has to offer. And to Talia, Robb offered spontaneity and this creative ambition and somewhat just an energy like no one had ever seen before. And to Robb, Talia offered deep, deep friendship and patience and understanding. And to one another, they both offered an entirely new world of friends and creative adventures. And the friends are here tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. I mean, we made it. We're here with them. They opened this up to us as well. And it was amazing to watch. And, you know, my life authority on love is my grandma, Selma Friedman, who will be turning 90 this September. And in the best of worlds, she'll also be enjoying her 64th wedding anniversary. And about life and love, she says that the main problem is the main challenge. There's no problems. The challenge is options. And when you're older, you don't have too many of them left. When you're younger, you have so many, you don't know what to do. And my thought on it is that true love takes our options and gives them purpose and direction, at least for a little bit. And then it just spins them all out of control again and gives you so many options, you're all mixed up. So congratulations, you're now all mixed up for the rest of your lives. I think that you only get one shot at it, but hey, raise your glass. Robb, I see you raising your glass. I think everyone raised their glass. Thank you. You know, we only get one shot at it, but if you do it right, that's all you really need. So here's to a shared life of continued success, of continued admiration, friendship, romance, and of course, most importantly, fun. I'm so happy to have, so thankful to have shared in all our lessons together, and can't wait to see the type of mischief your kids get into. Congratulations.